My name is Dr. Monica Lee.
What this dermatologist is about to share with me might be the secret to scientifically based, everlasting youth and beauty. Okay, I'm not actually sure about everlasting, but in the next few minutes, Dr. Lee breaks down what actually works when it comes to skin texture, pores, anti aging, and she even shares her personal skincare routine. People know the basics of skincare, but I wanted to dive in deeper behind the science of skincare and some of the lesser known factors that influence skin health. So, without further ado, let's get started. So,
Mhm.
for everyone watching, Dr. Lee here is a double board certified dermatologist and clinical assistant professor at one of the top universities in the world. So, to start, Dr. Lee, do you mind telling us about what you do and some of your work?
Well, thanks for having me on this series. I think it's very meaningful, and there's always lots of questions, no matter what age or what racial ethnic background we are, when it comes to skin health and taking care of our skin. So, kudos to you for starting this. My name is Dr. Monica Lee. I am a clinical assistant professor with the Department of Dermatology and Skin Science at the University of British Columbia. I also am the founder of a clinic, my own clinic called Vancouver Skin MD. And this clinic is dedicated to comprehensive, holistic care, particularly when it comes to aesthetics and positive aging concepts for our patients. In my beyond patient care, I'm quite involved with different professional societies in the sense of, volunteering to advance laser sciences, cosmetic dermatology, and overall dermatology as a specialty. And I take pride in being able to be involved in those societies. And on a media level, I actually have done and contributed to many pieces, I think probably more than 150, print, online, or digital, radio and TV interviews in the past. And I really enjoy these experiences and contributions because it keeps me on my toes. I have to stay abreast of updates and what's trending, what people's perceptions are of skin care, skin treatments, so that I can actually provide meaningful commentary for audiences and listeners from different sectors and walks of life.
So let's start with the first question. So, as you've seen on my TikTok, a lot of people are interested in skin texture, blackheads, large pores, and etc. And as I read the comments, I realized that they can be a big insecurity for many. And a lot of skin influencers, they always recommend products that may not necessarily work for everyone or products that are based on like hype and popularity. So, what is a real science-backed way to, smooth them out and potentially get rid of them? And what products or actions would you recommend?
That's a big question because there's different aspects of skin and skin concerns you touched upon. I do agree with you that skin care is not one size fits all. And even though you may have a formulation that works very well for one individual, it doesn't necessarily translate to the same benefits or effects when that product is used in another individual. So we really need to personalize skin care based on skin type, skin needs, skin goals in order to choose products that eventually build a routine that is compatible with that individual's skin. It is something that is affordable and accessible to that particular individual, and that it does meet the goals with long-term use that the person is trying to achieve.
Hmm.
So some of the things that you mentioned, for instance, when it comes to blackheads or large pores, we're talking about first of all, pore size that is genetically determined. So pore size cannot actually be changed permanently by any products or even treatments for that matter. However, there are formulations and ingredients, for instance, such as alpha hydroxy acids and beta hydroxy acids, namely salicylic acid, that can be used either as in a cleanser or it could be left on serum or lotion that helps to enzymatically break down um, the contents that pores, thereby leading to blackheads and whiteheads, but also leading to the enlargement of those pores so that visibly, when someone looks at it, it looks big. Now, when someone uses a product that has alpha hydroxy and beta hydroxy acids, it is something that also can help exfoliate, and hence it could be irritating and harsh for an individual. So, a general principle when choosing a product that has salicylic acid or alpha hydroxy or beta hydroxy acids is that individuals, if they choose to use something like this, should not be using it every day, because if they start with using it no more than 2 to 3 times per week to see how their skin tolerates it. Often that is sufficient to help the skin, which already exfoliates, to exfoliate a little bit more, and thereby helping to reduce blackheads and reducing the appearance of pore size.
Mm.
Now, when a product that has alpha and beta hydroxy acid is used, it wouldn't also be something that is just used short term, because as I mentioned earlier, pore size is genetically determined. So there's no way for us to use a product or even do a treatment for a patient where the pores will stay permanently tight or small. And hence why there is the importance of consistency in any routine with any products, but that consistency doesn't need to be daily use. So, you mentioned that. And then the other thing that you mentioned, I believe, is texture, right? Like skin
Mhm.
texture.
Yeah.
So then there's a whole host of different ingredients that helps to moisturize the skin.
Mhm.
And really, when you look at it microscopically, it actually helps to fill in, so to speak, the nooks and crannies of the skin at a microscopic level so that the texture seems to be more, glowy. When someone takes their hand and they put moisturizer on their skin feels more smooth, or makeup application feels more smooth and doesn't get cakey. So, the whole host of ingredients could include things like ceramides or hyaluronic acid or oat or oatmeal. It can include things like glycerin. And these are all ingredients that help in a formulation to either draw water to the skin surface, or it actually occludes the surface to trap water at the skin surface level so that it improves hydration, and thereby the skin does appear more plump or supple, and that the texture with application of products and makeup feels smoother.
Oh.
So, it really depends on kind of what the concern is on the skin, and
Mhm.
then choosing a product with active ingredients. But even then, sometimes there is a trial and error period to picking the right product that when we talk about not just the effect, but the sensorial experience. Because when we use skincare products, we have to like what we use. We have to like the smell. We have to like the texture, even the packaging. A lot of people take a lot of comfort in being taking care of their skin and taking care of themselves. So all these factors are at play when ultimately someone ends up having a product that they like and that they
Mhm.
will stick with. But it's important to just not hone in on certain ingredients or certain products because it's not something that works for everyone.
Yeah.
Whatever skincare products that can builds the routine,
Right.
there has to be consistency with use.
Mhm.
I think it's very attractive to buy different products that's recommended on social media, or you go to the store and the beauty store, and there might be a special, there might be a promotion, there might be a
Oh,
free
yeah.
gift with purchase. So
Yeah.
it's human nature, it's very tempting to try new things because it's exciting,
Mhm.
or buy something because it's recommended by someone else when those products are maybe not needed or even appropriate for a particular individual.
Yeah.
So I guess the first kind of golden rule is to make sure whatever routine that ends up being chosen, it doesn't have to be elaborate. And I'm not into the 50-step skincare routine either.
Yeah.
But choosing, a cleanser, a moisturizer, a sunscreen, and then choosing a few maybe dedicated products that have active ingredients that target pores, texture, eye bags, dark eye circles. So you may have an extra eye cream, you might have a serum,
Mhm.
and then you have something that exfoliates a few times a week. I think that is pretty sufficient. And then not just building that routine that works for the person, but then actually using those products consistently. So that's the first kind of golden tip, to make sure you're not just trying different things randomly, using things at random moments, because even if these products are excellent, the individual will not see the benefits of it when it's used inconsistently. I guess a second thing is, expensive doesn't always mean great.
Mhm.
There can be very affordable, accessible, widely available products that are tried and true, that have scientific data to support its use on the skin to help with texture and pores and blemishes.
Mhm.
And so you don't need to break the piggy bank to have a good skincare routine. It doesn't need to have very flashy packaging, sold in luxury department stores, that it has to be, $50 or more for it to actually be an excellent product for someone's skin health and skin texture. And so like, don't fall into the trap. There's always the opportunity to mix and match, just
Mhm.
like clothing, right? You can
Yeah.
have inexpensive top from a store that sells it for $10, but you could have a more expensive pair of jeans, but then you can have sneakers that were bought on sale. So it's the same thing with skincare routine. Expensive does not always equal quality or more better results. So again, like, consumer be aware and be alert about that. And I think the third, principle or third take-home point is that you have to listen to your skin where you're using products, because everybody's skin is different, everybody's sensitivity is different, their tolerability of products are different. And if the skin becomes a little bit pink, a little bit flaky, when a product is being placed on the skin and it feels like there is this stinging, burning sensation, then the skin is really telling you, cut back or pause it and give me a break. Because if someone is so keen to use a product and they keep pushing it, then that's when we might run into skin problems that then necessitates a visit to either their family doctor or a dermatologist. Our skin is very responsive and also gives real-time feedback as to what a product, to the tolerability of a product, to what a product works or does not work for a person. So I think being mindful of what the skin tells us to guide the products that a person can use, and B, also the frequency or the number of times that a product can be used. And
Mhm.
even I would say, mixing and matching skincare products. And maybe there could be some interactions with those active ingredients that is not agreeable to the skin. But the skin response and how it looks, how it feels will really tell an individual what works and what doesn't work for them.
This is leaning more towards general skincare advice, particularly with aging, because that's like your area of expertise. So, what habits or what everyday habits have the biggest impact on keeping your skin youthful and radiant over the years as we get older?
Right. If you ask myself and any other dermatologists around the world, the number one anti-aging product that one can use would be a sunscreen,
Sunscreen.
hands down.
Mhm.
That's because sunscreens, whether they're chemical or mineral sunscreens, once they're used appropriately and adequately, they not only help to prevent skin cancer formation,
Mhm.
but it also helps to prevent damage from ultraviolet rays. The damage from UV rays that comes from the sun leads to directly signs of premature aging that comes up, and that would be wrinkles, fine lines, uneven skin tone, brown spots, dull skin complexion. So these are things that are very bothersome to patients. And these are things that if they continue to progress, they can be difficult or challenging to treat, even if someone spends lots of dollars on their products or lots of dollars on their treatments. So, the best product that anyone can use, essentially 6 months and up, is a sunscreen product that they like. It
Mhm.
should be at least sun protection factor SPF 30 or higher. It should have also broad spectrum UVA plus UVB coverage.
Mhm.
And then the sunscreen product needs to be reapplied every 1 to 2 hours if someone is spending time outdoors or they're doing aquatic activities or they're sweating a lot. And if someone is pursuing or doing aquatic activities, then choosing a water-resistant sunscreen would be additionally beneficial. And in Canada, the labeling for a water-resistant product is either 40 or 80, meaning reapplication actually should happen with that water-resistant sunscreen every 40 or 80 minutes, if the person is wearing that product and in the water or exposed to water. So, for sure, hands down, that sunscreen is really important to help preserve youth, to help maintain and promote skin health,
Okay.
and also from a medical perspective, to not add to the risk of skin cancer. After that, I would say if someone is looking for kind of glowy skin, they're looking for a bit of collagen synthesis, but not in someone who's pregnant or breastfeeding, there can be the use of a retinol or a vitamin A and topically. So we're using this whether it's a cream, a serum, a lotion, but retinol has proven benefits for many decades, showing that it can stimulate collagen, it can help improve fine lines, it helps to improve collagen such that there's more contraction of pores so that it appears tighter and smaller. And
Okay.
it also helps to break down some excess pigment to give a more blended or even skin tone. And a retinol, like I said, other than pregnancy and breastfeeding, when it is not okay to use, it really can be used, throughout the course of the lifetime for that anti-aging purposes. And then the other thing that I think is important when we talk about anti-aging, other than a moisturizer, cleanser, and the sunscreen and the retinol, is the addition of a topical vitamin C. Vitamin C is a known antioxidant. It's one of many, but it's a known antioxidant that helps skin cells repair against damage
Mhm.
due to the sun, but also due to environmental exposure, such as particulates and dust and debris. And so it helps cells repair against these aggressors in the environment. It's used in the morning. It is safe, can be used in really all age groups. And that's something that could additionally be considered when we're thinking and building up that anti-aging routine for glowy skin and for skin complexion long term.
Okay. So actually, I do have a bonus question for you, if you don't mind sharing. What is your skincare routine?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, no problem. I'm happy to share. So, I'm not going to talk about brands because I just
Mhm.
emphasize that it is not brand specific
Yeah.
products that work for everybody.
Hmm.
But I can tell you the products I have. So, I definitely have a cleanser, moisturizer, sunscreen. These three are non-negotiable that I think is very important for anybody from a child all the way to an elderly person to
Hmm.
have in their routine. And that's because the cleanser takes the day off and allows the skin to regenerate overnight and for products before bedtime to actually be absorbed. The moisturizer is important twice a day to support the barrier and to keep good hydration at the skin surface level. And then the sunscreen is good to protect against damage, not only from a medical perspective for skin cancer, but also for a beauty perspective with those prevention of or delaying the premature signs of aging. So I have those three products in my routine. I do have an eye cream that I use before bedtime in the under eye area. And that's because the skin underneath the eyes are quite delicate, and it's often the site where first signs of aging shows, since it is so delicate and thin. I also have a product that helps to exfoliate the skin that I use 2 to 3 times a week. And that it contains a bit of glycolic acid in there, just so that there's a very gentle exfoliation effect to kind of help my skin turn over at the skin surface so that brighter skin and glowier skin can happen.
Okay.
And then beyond that, I have a cream that I use for my neck and chest as well. Those are areas that often many individuals, maybe not so much
Oh, you're
younger
missing your
individuals,
chest.
but as we get older, correct, as we get older, the neck and chest does get exposed to the environment.
Mhm.
It often will also have sun exposure on it, but because everyone is so focused on taking care of their facial
Right.
skin, the
Yeah.
neck and chest skin is often neglected or forgotten. And so I do have a product that's dedicated for use on the neck and chest as well.
Mhm.
And that way I make sure I am at the same pace taking care of other areas where there's often sun exposure along with my facial skin. So those are core products. It's not, like I said, a 50-step routine.
Yeah.
I do change up brands from time to time
Mhm.
because I do think that there is benefit to changing products and brands even every several years, so that I can optimize the effects from that product. But the core category of those products, those are what I incorporate into my skincare routine.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone starting their own glow up journey, what would it be?
Hmm. So I think, the key is to at least have the foundation of the non-negotiables, your cleanser, moisturizer, sunscreen.
Okay.
Make sure you're using this consistently. The sunscreen will be at least once daily. Moisturizer is twice a day, morning and evening, and the cleanser is before bedtime. Once you have those three product components of a routine down pack, and these are products that are used consistently,
Hmm.
then you can venture off and think about if, say, someone is in their mid-20s onward, they would potentially add a retinol. And I forgot to mention my own routine does have a retinol in it. So you
Retinol.
can add a retinol to the routine before bedtime and use as tolerated because some people can use a retinol a few times a week, and I have colleagues, for instance, that use this 7 times a week, and it's different for different skin types and different individuals. Then it's venturing off and considering the vitamin C, as I mentioned, especially if I'm thinking about glowy skin, because vitamin C is actually an essential vitamin for new collagen synthesis or production as well. And so vitamin C can help with evening out the skin pigment or evening out skin tone. It helps to basically be part of that collagen production story. And so that's something that could be then added on to the routine for that individual. And then, you probably have heard on social media
Hmm.
things like slugging, where there is use of occlusive petroleum jelly or similar product
Oh.
on top of a moisturizer to increase the degree of hydration, particularly if we are now around the corner towards fall and winter when the weather is drier. And so if the weather's dry and the skin is not as adequately moisturized, it might appear more cracked, it might look more dull, and there's no glow to the skin.
Hmm.
So slugging could be appropriate for some individuals if they find that their skin is quite dry, they have peeling skin to begin with, maybe they have facial eczema, but maybe not so much for people who have acne-prone skin because their skin might already run an oily complexion, and using a petroleum jelly-like product may actually just worsen that degree of oiliness. So I think the other thing is also I think that there's lots of options in the market and
Hmm.
what people can buy from drugstores and beauty stores. If at all in doubt, if unsure, a few things to keep in mind is A, talk to the family physician, talk to the dermatologist, get a referral, see a professional so they can provide guidance based on the individual unique needs of the skin. But like I said earlier, listen to the skin and make sure that you're not throwing 500 things at it and then having rashes or reactions because that's no good for the skin health. And then just, taking baby steps at a time. New products can be tried on a test spot first, for instance, on skin on the wrists or behind the ears for a few days to
Behind the
see
ears?
if, yep, behind the ears, like right here, because
Okay.
the skin is thin here. And a
Mm.
new product could be used on those areas for 4 to 5 days to make sure that it is actually tolerated well. And then there's a little bit more confidence for that individual to know that they can put it all over their face
Mhm.
and not as likely run into big problems.
Mm.
So, I think if this is not a journey that has to be alone, and certainly I don't think this is a journey where someone needs to follow trends and go buy products that it's popular on social media,
Mhm.
because skincare is just so individualized, and the journey itself is a very personal one. So, yeah, so I would say talk to professionals, kind of find what's right for you, do test spots. Those are some things so that we can cautiously determine a skincare journey that ends up supporting skin health and skin glow.